Today we have with us John Stahley, Vice President of Global Compressor Operations in Siemens Energy. Welcome, Mr. Stahley.
Hi, Evelyn. Thanks for having me.
Well, I'm so glad you're here. I was just wondered if you could tell us a little bit about Siemens.
Sure. Siemens is a big company, one of the biggest companies in the world. They're headquartered in Germany, and they've got 350,000 employees, and they sell 100 billion euros worth of equipment every year. So it's a huge company, one of the biggest companies in the world, and we're part of their power generation and oil and gas division here in Olean.
It wasn't always Siemens here, wasn't it? Dresser-Rand before.
That's correct. It's a long history here, and where I'm sitting today was established in 1912 by a couple of brothers called the Clark brothers, who moved their operations here to this very site in Olean from their prior facility in Belmont, which is just a little bit east of here, after it apparently had burned down. So they built the facility here, and it was known as the Clark brothers. And then over many years to this point in time, the ownership of the company has evolved. It was purchased by Dresser Industries and became known as Dresser Clark, and then there was a joint venture with a competitor called Ingersoll-Rand, and we became known as Dresser-Rand. And then in 2015, we were purchased by Siemens.
Now, you're talking about oil and gas. I don't think about that here, but why Olean then, with oil?
Good question. When people think oil and gas, they think of Texas and Middle East, Saudi Arabia, and you don't think of Olean. And today that's absolutely true. But back in the beginnings, the origins of the oil and gas industry, believe it or not, was right here in this part of the world. So the very first oil well was drilled in Titusville, Pennsylvania, not very far from here. Fredonia, New York became the first city in the world to have their streets lit with natural gas fired street lamps.
Oh, wow.
And because of that, because of the oil and gas industry being born here, a lot of different companies were established to support that industry, because it became almost like a gold rush back in the mid 1800s. And people were getting very rich, and a lot of jobs were created supporting this industry. So the Clark brothers, under Dresser at the time, changed their business model from their prior model, which was serving agriculture and lumber industries, building equipment for those industries, to building equipment, compressors specifically, to support the new booming oil and gas industry. So that's why it was established here in Olean, and luckily for us, we've been here ever since.
Well, that's great. Now, didn't you say behind you somewhere there used to be an oil? What was it?
Yes, a refinery. Yes. So when you get oil out of the ground, you need to clean it up and make it usable, which is and turn it into other products, and that process is referred to as refining. So oil refineries were established to do that work, and it's more economical to have those refineries closer to the source of the oil. So numerous refineries were built around this area. A couple still exist today in Pennsylvania, and Warren and Bradford. And yes, right outside my window, there used to be at one point in time a refinery owned by Standard Oil at the time. But when the industry sort of migrated out of this area down to Texas, a lot of these refineries were shut down, including the one that used to be behind me here, which no longer exists. But once upon a time, it was there.
Well, now we've talked about the present and the past. What about the future?
Well, we're still the largest employer in the southern tier here in the Cattaraugus County, so we still employ a lot of people. We employ a whole variety of different people, but the vast majority of the people working here are engineers. We custom design each compressor for a specific set of customer requirements, so it requires engineers to do that work, to interpret what the customer gives us and translate that into a product and design that product. And one of the unique things about us here in Olean is not only do we design the product, but we actually build it here. So a great thing for an engineer is you can actually see your design become reality. So engineers create the design, and then we buy the materials and we machine those materials here, and we end up assembling and testing the compressor just outside here in our factory. And so it's great for engineers because they get to see their work become reality, and it's a great learning experience for engineers as well, because there's quite often problems along the way, and they have to go out on the shop floor and figure out how to solve those problems, and they become better engineers because of that. And it's quite fulfilling, because at the end of the day, we can successfully pass our testing out here, and you know, you can watch a compressor get boxed and packaged up and put onto one of these huge trucks and pull off the campus. So I think it's a little bit unique in that respect.
And the whole community gets to see that truck too.
Huge trucks, yes.